Hello, everyone. This is Kripa Anand, and welcome to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. Today, we are exploring the sophisticated world of advanced wealth planning. In 2026, preserving a legacy is no longer just about drafting a will. It's about navigating the intersection of tax efficiency, family alignment, and business continuity. Joining us today is Tim Brisibe, Vice President of Tax and Estate Planning at Mackenzie Investments. With a Master of Laws in Taxation and specialized designs in family enterprise and philanthropy, Tim leads a team of experts dedicated to solving the most sticky challenges for affluent families. He is here to share how advisors and business owners can move towards an integrated approach to private wealth. So, before further ado, let's welcome this very special guest. Tim, welcome to the podcast. Such a pleasure to have you with us.
Very nice to be with you. Happy to be here.
Now, Tim, as the financial lives of high net worth clients become increasingly complex, the role of the advisor has to evolve beyond simple investment management, right? So, on that note, let's start the conversation by understanding how can advisors better support high net worth clients beyond investment management? Go ahead.
The path and where we're going, and this is present right now,
Mhm.
but increasingly, this is where we're headed. It's what I called a new frontier in the increasingly complex relational aspects of the advisor's practice.
Mhm.
And the approach, in my view, is what I call going beyond the portfolio, where advisors now are paying attention and they're equipping themselves, which is part of what we do here at
Mhm.
Mackenzie Investments, to recognize what I call, from the advisor's perspective, enterprise,
Mhm.
but from the family's perspective, and family risk of legacy friction.
Yeah.
And for the advisors to fold wealth transition continuity, stress testing is what I
Yeah.
call it, into reviews and ongoing conversations with their clients to know when to initiate, facilitate.
Mhm.
Family meetings are relatively new, but these are things that advisors would have to engage in to help families navigate, again, this
Yeah.
very increasingly complex landscape. So, couple things. The advisor is no longer what I term a compass. A
Mhm.
compass points you
Yeah.
in the right direction, but the advisor ought to be a champion and a steward of the family's portfolio and the family legacy, and governance underscores what I've just talked about, family governance.
Mhm. No, definitely. I think moving from the transactional advice to a connected strategic partnership, right, is clearly the baseline for modern wealth management. Thank you so much for educating our listeners about that, Tim. Now, let's explore how to solve complex wealth challenges for affluent families out there. So, please go ahead and give us insights about why are intergenerational wealth challenges so difficult to manage at the end of the day, because is there a lot of emotional
Yeah.
side of it that is also involved? So go ahead.
Yes, you use the fine word there, emotional.
Uh-huh.
I think historically, and where you started our conversation was, you said we are going beyond asking clients, do you have a will?
Yeah.
Do you have an enduring power of attorney? Do you have an enduring power of attorney for property or for healthcare?
Hmm.
We're past that, and emotion are involved in this. I referenced risk of legacy friction, and
Hmm.
is otherwise known as the sticky challenges that families would go through. I'll premise this by saying, fundamentally, there has to be, in any relationship, there has to be understanding, right?
Yeah.
So understanding the other person and what's important to them. And this is particularly so and true for high net worth, ultra high net worth, entrepreneurial, business owner families. One
Hmm.
of the key things that we are encouraging advisors and also families that will be listening to this, to consider is family values,
Mhm.
family mission, family vision. These are three critical aspects of what we call family charter. And so, does the family unit understand the family story? Because the family story informs, how did my parents start this business? Why did they start this business? What informed, and
Yeah,
so forth. So this is what drove founders. What was their journey like, right? Another thing that is based upon what I've just talked about, values, mission, and vision, is what does family wealth mean to different members of the family? For
right.
some, it means security. For others, it's
Mhm.
legacy. For others, it's freedom. And each individual's perspective might not be universally shared.
Yeah,
And so we want to ensure that families are connected on that basis, which I think would help
Mhm.
smooth over some of the challenges of intergenerational wealth transfer. And so the friction is lessened
Mhm.
as a result.
Definitely. Humans are run by stories, right? That's just a great
You
reminder
got
of
it.
that. And as I said, addressing the emotional side of wealth transfer is just as critical as the financial side to prevent the long term family friction, right? So,
Yes.
again, thank you so much for your perspective on that, Tim. Now, let's look at navigating high stakes business succession and liquidity events. So, please go ahead and share because majority of our listeners are also advisors, right? So, how can advisors help families navigate business succession smoothly and, take them through this process seamlessly?
Very good. I'll give you a report as a
Uh-huh.
basis for responding to this question. In 2023, the Canadian Foundation of Independent Business,
Mm-hmm.
they came up with a report that 76% of business owners are planning to exit their business within 10 years. So we're 3 years into that process. Top reasons: retirement, burnout, stepping back from responsibilities as owners. But this is shocking, at least to me. Only 9% of business owners have a formal succession plan in place. Some of the challenges for these business owners, according to this report, is finding a suitable buyer.
Yeah.
Number two is finding a successor, and successors are generally speaking from within the family. The
Right.
third reason is that they're having challenges to measure the value of the business. Fourth is the business is too reliant. So the founders are so involved in the business that this is all they know
Yes.
and they don't want to step away, right? So what can an advisor do to help families navigate this? Okay, majority of founders, going back to common obstacles, which is number two I just referenced, would
Yeah.
prefer their children to run the business and inherit the business. But
Mm-hmm.
a vast majority of those same founders, they've said that the children are not ready to run the business. So here's what I call where advisors in this narrow instance can help advisors with what we call next gen education.
Mm-hmm.
How do we provide education to ensure that these folks are ready to run the business? I'll mention this as I close. It's what are goals of these business owners, right?
Mm-hmm.
Advisors need to help them to define goals. I just referenced next gen preparedness. Are they
Yeah.
ready? Education. Uh, Also, multidisciplinary approach is what I would also suggest, where advisors are integral in building what I call a team of advisors. And
Mm-hmm.
this is business valuators, accountants, corporate lawyers, estate lawyers to help with the estate planning issues, wealth preservation specialists, these are insurance folks in the events that insurance is necessary with this business transition, private
Mm-hmm.
bankers. And my perspective is that the advisor ought to be central but
Mm-hmm.
also mindful that the professionals would orbit the family, the client, and the enterprise. And there has to be a curved path that is essentially connected, interconnect all of these players to the
Mm-hmm.
business owners to ensure that transition is
Yeah.
seamless if you address the things that I've talked about here.
Well, definitely. That was very informational, I'd say. And on that note, building on that, here's a special message for all of our listeners, specifically for all the business owners watching. In 2026, redrafting your will is not a succession plan. If your business is the bulk of your estate and you have children both in and out of the company, you are sitting on a potential family crisis.
Yeah.
Tim's roadmap at Mackenzie Investments proves that you need more than just a lawyer. You need comprehensive strategy that balances fairness with business continuity. So don't leave your legacy to a chance or a future courtroom battle. Start the
Yeah.
conversation about family alignment and tax efficiency today so
Yeah.
your business thrives for a third generation and
Yeah.
beyond. Now, coming back to you, Tim, I agree with whatever you said. Building a roadmap that addresses both leadership continuity and estate equality, right?
Yeah.
It's very difficult to understand the difference between the two.
Yeah.
But on that note, now let's explore how an integrated wealth model supports long term balance as well, right? So, what does an integrated private wealth approach look like? Just like walk us through it.
An integrated private wealth approach is what I call a robust,
Mm-hmm,
comprehensive, unified strategy.
mm-hmm,
And there is a crucial thread that ought to run through portfolio management, investment strategy, plan giving, strategic philanthropy, financial planning,
mm-hmm.
succession, and continuity. You mentioned that. It is a crucial word where we can talk about succession, which is who takes over,
Mm-hmm.
but what happens past that point
Yeah.
becomes a crucial question that it's not a one-time event, but we stay with the process. The advisor ensures that the process continues. So wealth transfer, wealth preservation, tax structure, strategies, legacy, estate, trust, planning. And for some, this is something that we generally have not addressed to the degree that I think we ought to, is disability planning.
Right.
Even for high net worth clients
Mm-hmm,
and family businesses. So again, the thread is robust, comprehensive, unified strategy. So some of the things, if not all of the things that we've talked about in this conversation,
mm-hmm.
provides a building block that ensures that the completion of a structure, this structure we're talking about, will
Yeah.
ensure that goals and wishes of the family would become a reality. So it's not a siloed conversation or
Yeah.
siloed event like you talked about. It goes beyond do you have a will and so
Mm-hmm,
forth. It is interconnected where every part ought to speak to the other part. And this way, there is a comprehensive, robust approach.
mm-hmm.
This is the private wealth approach.
No, definitely makes a lot of sense because, as you said, unifying tax, legal, and investment perspectives all under one roof, it ensures that no detail is missed in the broader planning process, right? And I'm loving this conversation, Tim, and definitely I'd love for you to be back, hopefully for an in-studio podcast that we do the next. But
Yes.
for now, before we let you go, Tim, if there's, one final advice that you have for the listeners who are listening to you right now, because succession planning and liquidity events can be pivotal moments in anyone's life, right?
Yeah.
So, how should advisors prepare clients for these transactions financially and emotionally? If you could just whisper one sentence into their ears, what would you say and why?
I have a word that I love. The word is homeostasis.
Uh huh.
And homeostasis, we get that from biology, where this is the ability for organisms to create the right environment for balance.
Wow.
And the advisor plays an extremely crucial role in ensuring homeostasis for the families that they work with.
Mm-hmm.
So advisors, as they continue to engage families, would help set the stage and the environment for homeostasis, which is all of the things that we've talked about. And in this way, balance is created, understanding is created. There is an understanding between the advisor and the clients, understanding amongst family members of what
Mm-hmm.
value, mission, and all of these things mean. And ultimately, this would provide the environment for succession planning, continuity planning, and
Mm-hmm.
you also reference liquidity event. I'll give you
Yeah.
this example. Let's say there's a liquidity event which would come from selling of a business, let's say. For some, this is where we can do two things. Have
Mm-hmm.
a conversation with families as to philanthropy and strategic philanthropy and planned giving. But if families are giving away the vast majority of their wealth to charity, I
Yeah.
think the members of the family need to have a buy-in and understand why parents are doing this. And so this provides an opportunity for families to come together
Mm-hmm.
to support charitable causes and their tax benefits to this, but also have the family unified in this cause. So that will be something that a liquidity event can provide a platform and a very good platform for.
That's a great and golden advice right there. And I love the analogy that you gave, right? Homeostasis. I'm definitely going to steal that one. Uh, that you made such an important point because these moments, they go far beyond just numbers on a balance sheet, right? So
Yeah,
thank you so much for this meaningful and insightful conversation, Tim. It was such a pleasure having you on the show.
very nice being with you. Hopefully we can do this again sometime soon.
Of course, looking forward to that.
All
Uh,
right. Thank you.
All right, that was Tim Brisibe from Mackenzie Investments, a masterclass on how to navigate the complex world of tax, estate planning, and the human side of wealth transfer. To all the listeners, thank you so much for tuning in to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and visit CanadianSME.ca for more such resources. To learn more about how we are supporting the ecosystem, please visit the Canadian SME Small Business Foundation at smbfoundation.ca. And lastly, a very special thank you to our partners, UPS and ADP, our HR partner, for their ongoing commitment to empowering SMBs across Canada. I'll see you all in the next episode. Kripa Anand signing off.